This and That Northwest.
It's the creativity, doing something with my hands. Hopefully making something that people will like, that it's pretty, it's aesthetically pleasing to somebody else. When I first got started, I was at a demo at one of the stores and watched demonstrations for hours on end, actually for 2 days. The demo person finally turned something, and that's basically what got me into the whole woodwork thing, and joined the Seattle chapter of the American Association of Woodturners, and took a few classes, and one thing led to another, and it snowballed. Now it's kind of an avocation along with a hobby. Make a lot of wine bottle stoppers. They sell in a couple of wine stores. Make pepper grinders, and they're in a couple of food stores. I've been in some galleries where I was selling bowls and various and sundry other things. And so I do sell my work. On the other hand, there's a lot of it that piles up in boxes too. So, yeah, I have a stash.
And between this bowl and another bowl down there, I've got over 70 different species of wood in these eggs, and they're just touchy-feely eggs. People can sit and talk, and you're not going to hurt anything, and they're solid. It's a wood collection in eggs. And then these are tops, and this is a solid piece of wood. This is maple from the East Coast. It's a very hard sugar maple, and they're just a spinning top. Made a lot of these for demos, especially at the woodworking shows, and you have kids along, and I'd give them to the kids. This is kind of an example of having to take this down the way I am because it broke when I was chucking it. So this is not quite the idea that I had when I originally started working on this piece of wood, but probably still be able to salvage something.
Oh, some of the challenges are sometimes the wood, you have an idea for the wood and it doesn't want to do that, or splits, which is unusual, but it can happen. Really, there's not a whole lot of challenges once you develop your turning techniques, your tool control. There are challenges, but usually when you're working on a final project, the challenges are pretty much over with. Although you can run into a hidden nail or something like that in a piece of wood and suddenly find your tool very dull. Usually, no, there's not a lot of challenges. Your brain is probably the biggest challenge.
These two pieces, I'll probably be doing some decorating on the rims, doing some pyrography on the rims, and not quite sure, maybe do some feathers around the rims of the bowls.
Some woods are easier to turn. I don't do a lot of mahogany, but there's other woods that come, and they have a lot of silica in them that's drawn up through the system of the tree growing, and that dulls tools very quickly. I do a lot of maple because we have a lot of it around here. I do a lot of just the local street trees. Most wood turning is done with wood that has some figure, has some grain. Bird's eye maple is an example, or fiddleback. Anything that has a nice strong grain to add some dimension to it. Occasionally I use exotics from West Africa, South America. So I do some of those occasionally, yes. Turning is very, very popular. We have 5 active chapters of the American Association of Woodturners here in the Puget Sound area. I'm sure that all of them are well over 100 members. We have some really great turners in this area, world-class turners that are recognized really throughout the world. Some folks just do it as a dabbling hobby, and then there's other people like myself. It's really an addiction, it's an avocation. We have a lot of wood turning up here, which is good because we got a lot of wood to turn, so we have to get at it. There's got to be at least 50 up there, I would think. My original 5 are up there too. And I have some in some drawers over there, more in drawers over there, and there's some hanging over there and on the table. Probably 100 or better, I would think. The lathe is just kind of the hook. It gets you started. And once you start turning, you're going to want this tool, or you're going to want that tool, or you want to do this, or you want to do that. That requires a different tool. So, yeah, the lathe is just the beginning. They take a class, see if you like it, join the clubs, one of the clubs, whatever one's near you. See if you think you're going to stick with it, and learn. Do some learning. Don't buy anything until you've talked to somebody and learned what it is, because you can throw a lot of good money away on bad tools. My mind is always going. Over the summertime, sometimes I don't get out here for a couple of weeks at a time. But like I say, that's because there's golf in the weather has been so great that, how can you stand not being outside, And I tend to be a doer. I'm not a very good spectator. I fully appreciate that. But in the wintertime, when it's, gets trashy and rainy, then yeah, I can be out here 2-3 times a week. And sometimes on my days off, I can come out here and spend all day out here.